Jocelyn. Thanks so much. And thank you to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco for putting on this series of webinars. I think the content's been amazing and the topic is so supportive. So thank you for doing that, and for everyone joining today, especially our child care providers. Thank you so much for all you're doing to support our children at this challenging time. So just a brief background, if you're not familiar with PNC, we are one of the largest diversified financial services company in the country. On any given day, we're the 5th or 6th largest bank. We have a retail network of branches that we operate in 22 states in the District of Columbia. Sorry, I'm talking to you live from our headquarters city in Pittsburgh, but actually my son's spare bedroom. But we offer many of our products nationally, like our mortgage and corporate and institutional banking. But what I wanted to talk about today was our really become our signature cause of our philanthropy, PNC Grow Up Great. So if you could advance the slide. So we started PNC Grow Up Great in 2004. It is actually now we're in our 16th year. It is a $500 million program, all focused specifically on early childhood education for children birth to age 5. If you could advance the slide. So it's interesting that even 16 years into the program, a lot of people still scratch their heads when they hear that a bank is focused their philanthropy on early childhood education. But for us, it makes a ton of sense, and we can really connect ourselves as a bank to early childhood education because it is shown over and over again that early childhood education is such a strong economic development tool and workforce development tool. And actually, in a prior session, you heard from Rob Grunwald at the Minneapolis Fed, and we actually attribute and talk a lot about the research both Rob and his colleague Art Rolnick have done over the years. They really helped when we were thinking about early childhood education, help us understand the strong connection between economic development. So just to tell you a little bit about the program, to give you a sense of different ways that financial services companies might be able to support early childhood education. When we started the program, we really didn't know we were going to focus on early childhood education. We really just wanted a way to be able to better talk about the impact of our philanthropy. And what we knew at the time in 2003, 2004, that we were supporting a bunch of different things, but really couldn't talk as a whole, as a corporation, what we were doing to support our communities. So thinking that we wanted to focus the power of this large company behind one cause, the first thing we did was really ask our employees what they would like to see us focus on. And they came back and said something in the area of children and education. And as you know, that's really, really broad. And so from there, we did a ton of research, again, going back to some of the work that Rob Grunwald was doing in Art Rolnick, Perry Preschool Study, and really became to understand the importance of high quality early childhood education and the impact it has on a child's lifetime trajectory. So when we thought about the program, we wanted to really think about all of the resources we have at PNC and how we could harness those resources to make an impact on this issue. So we knew grants are important, and we do have a large component of our program that is focused on grants. And mostly what we've done prior to COVID is really support programs that were looking to increase the quality of their programming, providing support for professional development, direct services for children, as well as family engagement activities. We also, when we started the program, early childhood has come a long way. And when we started, people really didn't understand the importance of early childhood education, school readiness. So what we really wanted to do was thinking about our power in terms of how we market our product and services, to think about how we could use all of those channels to really drive awareness of the importance of early childhood education. And we've done this in a number of ways, working with our partners at Sesame Workshop and Fred Rogers Productions, not only to talk about the importance of high quality early childhood education, but also to provide great tools and resources for parents and caregivers to help prepare their children for the first day of school. We also have a big advocacy component to our program. So we have regional presidents across our 40 plus markets. They're really our face of PNC in the community. And they have done an amazing job. They've really become experts on the local issues facing early childhood care and education and funding issues, and are often called upon to talk about why there should be increased investment in early childhood education. And what we find, again, even 16 years later, is that when a banker talks about this topic, because we are such an unexpected advocate for the issue, we find that people listen to us a little bit differently, and we found that to be a very effective tool. And then finally, the fourth and perhaps most important element of our program is we offer all of our employees 40 hours of paid time off to volunteer every year, specifically for Grow Upgrade. We have more than 52,000 employees, and so you can imagine the power of those employees not only out there volunteering at early childhood education centers, but also, again, being advocates for the issue and being able to talk about why early childhood education is so important. Next slide. So one of the guiding principles for us is that we try never, ever to forget that we are, in fact, bankers and not early childhood education experts. So I think one of the most important things to highlight is that we have had terrific partners over the years with Sesame Street, Fred Rogers, the National Head Start Association at the national level, and then across our markets, just amazing early childhood partners that really help us set the strategic direction for the program and guide us so that our investment can be the most impactful. We also have an advisory council of early childhood experts, many names I'm sure you'd be familiar with, that have helped advise us since the inception of the program. Next slide. So just to give you a sense of what we've been able to accomplish again as a whole, and just a reminder, one of the things we were hoping to do is to be able to talk about the impact of our work across our corporation. So we talk about the impact in terms of the grants that we've awarded, our volunteerism effort. We're closing in on 1 million hours of volunteer support. We've done, as I mentioned, done a lot of awareness activities and delivery of free resources through our partners. Last year, we were able to host a book drive in all of our retail branches, which was really the first time that we involved our customers and communities in our efforts, and we collected over 100,000 books in just a few weeks. Fortunately, we couldn't do it this year. And then finally, we really do feel that our advocacy efforts have really furthered discussions at both the state and local level about the importance of funding high quality early childhood education. Next slide. So the number we're most proud of through all of our resources, we have in programming, we have mobile learning tours. We've served almost 7 million children through Grow Upgrade in some way. So I also just wanted to touch on what's changed, since we've been in the middle of this pandemic. Unfortunately, we've had to pause our volunteerism until very recently. We're now focused on virtual opportunities and trying to work with all of our partners to develop opportunities that our employees might be able to help with from home. As I mentioned, we have actually at different times of the year, we have 6 different mobile educational tours traversing our footprints. So we've had to pause those as well. On the grant side, in April, PNC announced that we would provide $30 million in charitable support across the communities we serve by the end of 2020. That includes supplemental funding to support emergency needs like food insecurity and shelter, certainly support for essential workers, including childcare. So a lot of what we've been doing this year is not only working with some additional funds for those most pressing needs, but also working with our partners to help them repurpose grants that typically we were funding programming, again, to help increase the quality of early childhood education. And now we're working with our partners to allow them to shift a lot of those dollars to the much needed operating support. So again, something we hadn't really supported before COVID, but we definitely see the need and are trying to be as flexible as we possibly can with our partners to help meet their really emergency needs. Just to focus on policy for a second, we've always believed in the importance of strong data to help inform policy. So one of the things that we've been able to do is work specifically with one of our partners and longtime advisory council member, Steve Barnett at the National Institute of Early Childhood Education and Research. So Steve and his team did a national study really looking at the impact of the pandemic on preschool education. And the full study can be found on NEER's homepage, which is www.nieer.org, neer.org. But one of the most interesting findings was that we found that just 10% of 3 to 5 year olds enrolled in preschool prior to the pandemic received a robust replacement for in-person preschool attendance. And we also saw evidence of declines in parent-child activities, which may ultimately translate into even greater learning loss. So unfortunately, one uptick was we saw an increase in parent engagement in telling stories with their children, and that's great. But for us, this definitely emphasized the need that we have and the resources that we have to get resources into the hands of parents to help them continue their work at home. And then the final thing I just wanted to mention from our perspective was really around a program related investment that we did through the PNC Foundation, working really closely with our community development banking group and really trying to see how we can better connect our efforts to support early childhood education with the work our community development banking group is doing. One of the things they did was a $10 million program related investment to the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh to really support COVID relief efforts for small businesses. And in working with those resources and the fund and the Urban Redevelopment of Pittsburgh, we were able to ask them to provide 15% of the total investments and have them direct that to childcare providers for their needs that they're seeing as a result of COVID. So again, trying to align our priorities, both with community development banking and the PNC Foundation, and our hope that this funding will really help support our childcare providers that we know desperately need these funds. So with that, I will stop and turn it back over to Jocelyn, and I look forward to your questions at the end.